Hey guys, I hope you all are doing well. Today we will learn 16 ways to master your mind. So here we are. We all have heard this quote, as you think so shall you become, right? All the actions are governed by your thoughts. We always think first, people react, at least most of us. No matter what it is, whether good or bad, our thoughts leave the groundwork for this action. So, if your thoughts are always revolving around your success, your actions will always be curious to achieve that success. But on the flip side, your thoughts are always active and self-defeated. Your action will reflect this process. So, how do you train your mind and filter out all the negative thoughts to focus on positives? So, for that, we will discuss 16 ways to master your mind. First one is the most basic one and most important one, and that is meditation. Now you will know why I love meditation. We all have heard about it in some way or other, but we tend to fully understand just how effective it is. When was the last time you meditated? What was the last time you tried to purge out your mind of the negative? A long time ago. Well, you need meditation. Meditation is an old technique of mastering. Meditation suggests that a chaotic and noisy mind produces positive results. It's the same way of writing people in the soul problems. Now, to meditate, you have to be willing to control your life by making a conscious effort to clear out the meditation. Meditation will slowly teach you how to learn from your negatives, control your thoughts, and use the positive for the better life for yourself. So now, second one, surround yourself with positivity. It's not enough to want to make positive inspiration for these thoughts. Let me give you an example. You are preparing hard for your exams, but you find it difficult to believe you will pass with the blind colors to tackle this problem. You have to surround yourself with other individuals who believe that they will pass their exam. In no time, you will also infected by this optimism. This is simply going to inspire good thoughts to fill your mind. But on the flip side, associating yourself with negative minded individuals will have the same effect on your mind. So choose wisely. Now, the third one is forget about the past unless you have a time. The time machine that nobody knows about you. Can't change the past. So if you can't change it, why think about it changing it? It's just an old baggage that you aren't willing to let it go. You cannot change the events of the past and how would affect you. But you can certainly learn from those events and make sure that they don't happen to you again in future. Give up on the things that are beyond your control, and instead of pay attention to the things you actually have a power to change. For every time you love your thoughts to laundering the past, you lose the power and ability to control your goals. So how do you break for yourself from the shackles of your past? You have to make peace with it, whatever that means for you. The death of the loved one, a grave mistake that cost you your job. You have to be willing to accept the reality without doubts and questions, but with all the optimism that future will be better. If you learn from experience, stop allowing the past to have such a grip on you. You are stronger. Now, fourth one, learn to visualize yourself in a positive light. The human mind is fascinated by images, whether they are static or movie. Why do you think most companies have adopted video apps while slowly ignoring conventional approaches of text and audio? We remember images more than anything else, and it sticks on the top of our minds for as long as possible. Now let's try the same experiment with you. Close your eyes and try to visualize yourself in next 5 years achieving all the goals you set for yourself. Fix the image of yourself for few moments and now open your eyes. You can repeat this process as many as time you like. This picture of yourself become motivating factor, one that pushes you to try harder and also keeps you to make the positive outlook towards your goal. Alright, now fifth one, encourage positivity. You constantly have to see yourself become sad even after feeling happy from outside. On some days we wake up feeling depressed and convinced that world has hateful place and harsh too. But on other days, we wake up feeling depressed and think, glad that we see the sun. On these days, we can encourage positivity as long as we can. Teaching your mind to stay positive, train to gravitate towards the positivity, allow yourself to see the world in a beautiful way. You are just willing to look beyond the negativity and focus on what really matters. Now, sixth one, know your triggers. Negative or positive thoughts have a lot in common despite declaring differences. For starters, both of these are usually triggered by someone else. Happy thoughts can be a result of a good night's sleep, achieving a short-term goal. Negative thought, on the other hand, can be triggered by boredom or visiting a place that fills you with a fear and anxiety. With a stupid social media post, negative thoughts can also be triggered by the familiar situations. So that is a situation of the fact that you're negatively in the past. Your job is to locate these negative situations and experiences and make a conscious effort not to avoid being in them but understand your emotional state well enough to navigate your way through. When the trigger does occur, you should also learn to encourage triggers that direct your mind towards the positive thoughts, as this will help you to gain more mastery over your mind. So, seventh one, utilize the healing power of the deep breaths. The healing power of the deep breathing might provoke weak against the terminal illness, but it remains one of the best ways to tame your mind. Our minds are so complex that occasionally things get kind of our hand. Yeah, it happens sometime, but if you are getting out of your hand happens way too often in your mind, well, it's a sign of your mind needs to be put back in check. Deep breathing is one of the most effective ways to tame your thought right now on the spot, right in the heat of the moment. As soon as you realize that things are going sideways, tell yourself to stop and cool down. Find a spot and take 8 to 10 deep breaths. Now while you do this exercise, sure not to think about anything. Allow nothing to pass through your mind. If you can repeat this for 60 to 90 seconds. You should also know that deep breathing doesn't send the bad thoughts away. Instead, it only helps mind to click the refresh button, allows you to restart the thinking process with a different mindset. Pretty bad as right. Yeah. Now, eighth one, listen to your body. How do you expect to master your mind if you don't listen to your body? Your body and a mind are connected in a unique ways, and failing to listen to either of these will have any effect on the other. If your body is in pain, your mind will also be in a state of distress. Similarly, if your mind is in a dark place, this negativity will soon begin to reflect your physical self. Don't ever ignore the signs from the body. Also pay close attention to every stomach rumble and headache or aching neck, because you know it could be beginning of the illness. Just a body reacting to a thought, mind is feeding it. Your body also acts as a guide in a system to measure the extent of your thoughts. For example, if you can't get off the bed because you're too sad, this suggests that negative thoughts have taken over the entirely of you. Behead, and it will only go from here unless you can take charge of the situation and enter the interval. Now, the ninth one, use affirmations. The critically acclaimed movie Three Idiots, we learn something pretty interesting about the mind. It can be tricked when things go wrong. These characters tell the mind that all is well, telling it not to fret as things are totally under control, even though things are actually spiraling out of the control. But the trick isn't to confuse the mind. The trick is to stop it from blowing up the situation. If your mind is calm and in the tense situation, you are more likely to make better and smarter decisions, right? And how do keep your mind under control? Well, the secret is to use the word of affirmation. Fortunately, words of the affirmation are useful in all the kinds of the situation. There is a reminder that you can in charge of your mind, and it would believe that you wanted to. For the starters, you can surround yourself with the quotes and daily mantras. and in no time you will come to understand and believe this affirmation. Now 10th one, avoid negative people. Avoid negative people. Do you think a superhero, whatever the superhero is, fly into a sky and they lived amongst the people who didn't believe they could be it? Of course not. Our minds largely influenced by people that we associate ourselves with. If you constantly have to deal with negativity in your circle, it's only a matter of time before your mind starts to thrive the negativity. Your mind feeds of energy in its senses around it. So while allow it to feed on a dark side around yourself with the people who share your positivity, and your mind will be so glad you did. Yes, your mind will be so glad you did. Now 11th one, read books. Remember when we said the mind is complex subject? Well, there are tons of books available to help to understand the workings of your better mind. In a book, Power of Now, a guide a spiritual alignment, he writes, thinking is the only small aspect of consciousness. So cannot exist without consciousness, but consciousness does not need thought. Sounds pretty interesting, right? Your mind is capable of so much more, and the knowledge to unlock these endless possibilities can be found in the books now. Right. Now 12th one, train your memory muscle. Humans naturally have an interesting ability to retain tons of information, but thanks to technology we now have to digest more information than ever, which in turn to affected how much information we can retain. In fact, a recent study shows that once we forget bold and the older generation, and this can be blamed on the very heavy use of technology. And look, we blame technology all we want, or we can devise intensive ways to keep our memory sharp. Visualization is common trick to train your memory, and if you do this with other proof and conjunctive exercises, your work memory will be preserved forever. Now 13th, let your mind wander when it wants today. Yes, your mind could be stuck in a boring lecture while your mind could be on a trip to Bali. But let's forget about the fun for a minute. Allowing yourself to wander as also be improvement to boost creativity and help you to become smarter. Allowing your mind to water has also been proven to boost the creativity and help you to become smarter. Mastering your mind requires giving the considerable level of freedom and knowing when to pull the plug of this freedom and get to the work is just as important. 14th one, don't suppress emotion. Well, it's important that we always be realistic and rational in our thoughts and try to focus on the positives more than the negatives. This is no way means that you should ignore the suppress your emotions. Instead, allow yourself to feel your emotion and understand how your mind plays in the role of these processes. When you come to terms with the severity of your emotions, your mind will help you to understand why you feel this way and how can you manage these emotions in a simple healthy steps. Overall, when you master your mind, you master your emotion. And on that note, yeah, when you master your mind, you master your emotion. 15th one, except for the negative faults. It's totally natural for the humans to run from the negative thoughts, but sometimes the best way to deal with these thoughts is to push away negative thoughts over and over again. It only make the thoughts even more intense, and it will make your mind for even longer time period. So pro tip, does not exact oppose base your negative thought. You will realize it gives you an opportunity to understand why the thought want to go away, and if you go down, you are one step closer to vanishing the bottle together. That was quite a ride, right? Do you think you can master these mind tricks to keep your mind in control, or have you tried any of these in the past? I'd love to hear in the comment section. Now the 16th one, give yourself time to master of your mind. It's not going to happen in just a couple of days. It's an endless process that will span across the months and yes, but as you read and understand your mind, it will become a lot easier along the way.